Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 456 for June 15th, 2022. My name is Russell Frost, and I am your host for this week's adventure in advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. I had to take a big, deep breath to get that out because my lungs are about this big in reality. That's a personal issue. Why do I always start with a personal problem?
Because you are a giver. You're a deeply emotional giver.
Did she say emotionally disturbed?
No, I said
no.
Oh.
Oh, what's the point of talking to him?
And his ears need cleaning.
Well, that I believe.
Yeah. This is
the person. Good headphones there.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, you know what's in there? The hearing aids that I can't wear with the headphones, but I can hear just fine.
No, like they have ones that have Bluetooth in them now, so you could just.
Those have Bluetooth in them. No.
Oh, you could just.
No. Thank you, though. No. Thank you. Let me introduce this fine panel, and we will get this show on the road. My friend who wants me to use Bluetooth earphones for the show, which I absolutely refuse to do because I'm a big Cord fan, Mr. Casey Green.
They don't have a plug for those. That would be weird.
It's all I got. They're a cute little hearing aids.
Yeah.
Moto
says hello.
Oh, there we go, Casey and baby. They're a dynamic duo. Is that?
Yeah,
sure.
You're getting all her acting credits in.
We need to make you sit back some more so we can actually see the baby.
Yeah,
we're just there you go. For baby.
Widen the angle out, Casey.
Oh, but the office is a mess.
I was going to say, I know you can do that though. You're choosing not to, and I understand.
No,
my friend and everything. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's babies. You get one, and next thing you know, your whole life falls apart. Nothing can stay clean once you get baby.
Wow,
that's true.
My friend in Northern California, she is a voice actor, director, writer, multi-talented, amazing activist, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. We've got a whole heck of a lot for you tonight, including baby. And that's that.
And last and not least, my friend in Colorado, in Boulder. I think he's in Boulder because the name of his business is Boulder Hybrids. He is the owner, founder, and chief technician, my friend, Paul Guzik.
Hey, and it's really sunny here today, so excuse my squinting. And Boulder is in Colorado, so you can say I'm in Colorado and still be correct.
It just seems kind of vague, like my friend in the Rocky Mountain West. Okay, I guess. I mean, Boulder's not too specific. Anyway, well, let's move on. I got a couple of things to start the show off with. One of my observations was that yesterday morning, I spent 3.5 hours in a Kia dealership. And I'm here to tell you, you don't want a Kia. Now, we just did a show with my friend John.
I was thinking that when you wrote that in the notes.
With my friend John, who just bought an EV6. John is an exceptionally intelligent young man. I am sure the EV6 is a fine vehicle, but here's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to sort of segue this into another point, which is you don't want to buy a car now. And we've said that for well over a year, and I want to reinforce how much you don't want to buy a car now. You don't want to go into, let's just not name a dealership. Let's just call it an exciting car dealership that maybe I spent time in yesterday, maybe I didn't. You don't want to go in there and pay $4,000 over MSRP plus all the dealer add-ons that they require you to buy for the privilege of buying a new or used vehicle. This is not the time to buy a car. If you have to buy a car, you have my sympathy. I feel for you. It's difficult. But if you don't absolutely have to buy a car, in the name of all that is holy, stay away from car dealers. They are raking in the cash with both hands. You have no leverage with them whatsoever, none. And I'll quote one of the statements that one of the people I was chatting with said, "We don't care whether you buy this car or not, because standing behind you are 10 people that will buy it." And that's the truth. So as long as there are 10 people waiting in line to buy some overpriced piece of crap, it's not a good time to buy a car. Stay out of car dealerships. One of my coworkers just bought a what Toyota calls a track car. That's the Toyota Rent-A-Car program. They use them for loaners and for all kinds of things, so they regularly sell them. She just bought a year-old Corolla. It had 7,000 miles on it, which is very low mileage. Used car, she paid. They were asking $29,000 for a Corolla.
Rental
That's
Corolla.
a brand new car price. What the hell?
She got it for 25, allegedly. Look, all the conversations that I had yesterday and everything that I just understand, if you are buying a car right now, you are a victim. And again, you have my sympathy, because some people need to buy a car. The car blew up. It got wrecked in an accident. They need it. Just understand, you are almost certainly going to get screwed to the wall.
A friend shared with me a sticker yesterday or this morning. Time is fluid. Anyway, it was a Ford F-150 Lightning. It was a mid equipment, so it was like 69 and change. And then it had all the dealer crap on it. And then it said market adjustment, $69,700.
Yep.
$69,700. They doubled the price of the freaking truck before the BS add-ons.
I mean, there's no, let's be clear, this whole inflation song and dance that our country's going through is complete horseshit. It's profit taking. It's oil companies price gouging. It's medical companies price gouging. It's real estate companies price gouging. It's car dealerships price gouging. Because
everybody else trying to pay the bills beyond that.
The last thing, I'm sorry. No, the last thing I want to address in this is the question that almost always follows up this discussion, which is, okay, fine, Russell, when can I buy a car? And the answer is
never.
I don't know. When this is over, I didn't think it. I'm sorry, Paul.
I will say my 2 cents. I think we might have peaked in the car market. I'm starting to see cars flowing, prices stabilize, and maybe even some coming down a bit. Still not a time to buy, but I think we've hit the peak. So if you can be patient a few more months or a year, things should be getting back to more normal, finally.
Yeah. That kind of sounds like what's happening with the housing market, because the housing market
and interest rates. I mean, now that interest rates are double what they were a year ago, that's going to affect everything, every major purchase decision, from a home to a car.
And just like houses, like right now, you're starting to see the real estate agents that can't sell and can't do their jobs or aren't able to just process paperwork. They're starting to drop out because it's no longer easy. It's just, you have to get back and do some work. You'll find the same thing's going to happen with salespeople. After a couple months of not just raking in the money easily, and then all of a sudden they can't support things the way they used to, they will drop out and find other things to do. And at that point, it's still going to be not a pleasant experience, but it won't be like Russell said, where you've got the just asshole
right
who knows he's got you.
Well, and unfortunately, if you have a hot car like a RAV4 Prime or an EV6 that everybody wants, and there's only 2 in your metro area, it's true. If you don't buy it, there's 10 guys behind you that will buy it. And it's car dealers are sleazebags for taking advantage of that.
Yes. No,
not all obligatory, not all, but
almost all.
There's a reason there's a freaking stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had a customer come in a couple weeks ago. He was on the list for an EV6, and the dealer was a Denver metro dealer, said, "Oh, we're a few months away. We'll call you when we get one." And they called him like 3 weeks ago and said, "Oh, guess what? The person that wanted this one backed out, and you can buy it today, and you can have it at MSRP. Do you want it? And if not, I'll call the next guy in the list." And he said, "Hell yeah!" And he went and bought it. And the dealer wasn't a greedy ass. So
That's fair. MSRP is
yeah.
perfectly fair. I mean, there's a reason they set
totally.
the price.
Yeah, I think my concern, and I'm not going to dispute what Paul said because Paul knows way more about it. This is actually part of his job, is selling cars and buying cars.
Former car salesman, for disclosure.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to go on for another year. I feel like mid-23 maybe, and that's totally. I have no evidence for this. It is completely an emotional decision. But I will say this. It doesn't take a super astute business person, whether you are a salesperson or a dealer owner or a car company, an OEM, to go, we've had it pretty good for the last 2 years. So if all we have to do is constrain supply and we get to write the terms of the deals, we might be enabling a new business paradigm, which isn't going to help the consumer very much.
Ford said so last week.
Yeah.
Well, the oil companies
said, hey,
have been
if you
saying
see us advertise a Ford electric, sell the stock. And then he went into the reasons why. I was like, oh, well, I mean, he's being honest, but it might be a little too honest.
There you go. Well, that's all I got. I just wanted to rant about that. So let's go to Paul, who has a story about Ford. Yeah.
Speaking of a car company, so Ford announced a couple of days ago that they are stopping deliveries of the Mach-E Mustang electric because there's some glitch in the system that can cause the car to wait, generate excessive heat, and catch on fire. Part of the charging system. And they say they've got a fix coming, but they've actually told their dealers, even if you have firm orders, to not deliver the car. You can still take orders to sell cars in the future, but you don't know when the customer will get the car. And they're not even allowed to do test drives until they sort out this problem. And essentially it's something with the high speed, high voltage charger overheats and can melt wires inside the car and go downhill really fast.
Are we talking CCS or the onboard charger?
It didn't. The article I read didn't get into the specifics, but they did say they are working on a fix. They didn't say if it's an over-the-air fix or an actual hardware fix. But that is one of the hottest cars Ford has available right now, and for them to have to stop delivering them is not going to make their customers happy, especially for the customers that paid a market adjustment premium to get it quickly and now have to sit on the sidelines and wait for it longer.
Okay, so they've come out with this statement. On affected vehicles, direct current, fast charging, and repeated wide open pedal event. So even just driving the damn thing. So it's just high current usage in and out of that battery pack can cause the high voltage battery main contactors to overheat. Overheating may lead to arcing and deformation of the electrical contact surfaces, which can result in a contactor that remains open or a contactor that welds closed. Both are really bad things, guys. An overheated contactor that opens while driving can result in a loss of motive power, which can result in the risk of an accident. So the remedy for this program is a secondary onboard diagnostic control module and battery engine control module software update. And remember, software updates, even though the car can do it over the air, only dealers are allowed to do repairs. So you got to bring it in. So Ford expects to begin over-the-air deployment to interesting. So maybe they got around this with the Ford Blue and Ford.
Well, they might be able to patch it over the air to make the car reasonably safe, but then the real fix may involve hardware. But, it sucks if you've shelled out money for one of these cars and you wanted it for July 4th weekend and now you don't get it. So, and all of the legacy car companies are going to learn this stuff the hard way as they roll out their EVs because this is all new to them and their engineers didn't think this through or didn't plan for it. And now they're backpedaling and trying to fix it.
But at least it's not a failure to manufacture the cells correctly like we saw with Hyundai Kia in Korea.
Right.
all bolts in the U.S. and the Pacifica Hybrid here in the U.S. This is
Yeah.
in a module that they can fix, and hopefully the software update does the trick. We'll see, because we
And-
had a lot of cases of people saying software update's going to fix it, and then it don't.
Oops.
And not to be outdone, Tesla, who certainly we could say knows more about EVs than anyone right now, they still have problems. They have to sort them out. So
Well, yeah, everybody has
still-
recalls. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they also further went on to say, as you already pointed out, do not demonstrate or deliver any new in-stock vehicles involved in this recall. A complete bulletin will be provided in the third quarter of 2022, and it's anticipated the software and/or parts ordering information and repair instructions will be available to support this recall.
and you notice how they say third quarter, which is
Right.
Not
next month.
Yeah, it's July, August, September. So it means the end of September is when
Exactly.
because they didn't say coming in mid-July or
Right.
mid-August. So,
I'd rather.
I assume the factory has made the changes. I'm hoping
I
that
hope
cars
so.
that are coming out of the factory going forward will have this fix already.
Yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
err
Assuming
on
they
the
can
side
get
of
the
caution
parts
than-
from.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then can they get the parts from the supply chain quick enough?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I'd rather them be cautious than say, let's see how many people die first.
Yeah.
We really don't need that as a
and,
strategy.
Sorry.
back in the old days, for those of you who have been around in the 70s, Ford had a few egg on their face with the Pinto exploding if you tap the rear end,
Yeah.
etc.
I mean, what's a few explosions between friends? Come on.
Somebody bumps your rear bumper, your car blows up. What are you going to get upset about it?
Isn't
Come
that what the Fight
on.
Club's
Really?
Isn't that what the Fight Club's guy's job was? To determine whether they needed to recall or just pay it out?
I don't remember it. Never saw
I
Fight
don't
Club.
either. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I read the
Oh,
book
we're
and
all
watched the
too
movie, but like you said, a
old.
long time ago.
But anyway, so if any of you listeners out there in the internet land, we're waiting for your Mach-E. Unfortunately, you're waiting a little bit longer.
And if you have one, don't DC charge it and stay away from any brisk acceleration.
Yes. Stay off
Maybe
the
if
drag
you
strip.
can afford to, just park it.
Let's not go to the racetrack on the
Wait a
weekend
second.
and try and earn some money. Casey Green. Oh,
With the baby
Right,
seat in
you
there.
just bring your own fire extinguisher and wear flame retardant pants. You should be fine. I see no reason for a recall.
Remember, with a lithium fire, you need copious amounts of water to bring the temperature down, and then you should be okay. So bring a
Copious.
thermal camera.
So we don't throw flour on that one.
Oh no. In Europe, they have these bins. They just take the car up with one of those tow trucks they have that can pick the whole car up at once, and they just drop the car in the bin for a couple days. It's a bin full of water.
Man, that's like some hot battery nonsense. Okay. It's just one of those things where you're just like,
I mean, in a way,
is this really what you're doing?
part of this scares me because it seems like it's sort of like FUD, like batteries are dangerous. Oh, they're scary. But as we have also discussed many times in this show, 15 gallons of gasoline in a metal container attached to your vehicle, not the most safe thing either.
And it burns
Yeah.
quicker. Like, at least with the lithium, you got the smoke, you got the warning lights, you get out when it says get out. Don't play when it says get out. Pull over safely.
Get
pull
out.
over safely. Get the F out of your car.
Yeah.
The only thing I like to have smoking is.
We've also said too that hundreds of gas cars catch on fire every day, and it
Every
does not
day.
make
You don't
the
even
news.
hear about them.
Every single because
Yeah.
it just it's back to life. Cars
So-
catch fire.
I think for me, this kind of dovetails in with the idea that like people complain, oh, wow, I got an fender bender and my car's totaled. And I'm like, yeah, but guess what? You walked away from it. You didn't get hurt. People used to die in stupid collisions because we made these enormous tanks that had no crumple zones, that had very little safety equipment. Now people survive horrific crashes.
Yeah.
Their cars are wrecked. Who cares about your car?
Right.
We're talking about
Sheet
saving
metal and
lives.
plastic can be replaced. People cannot.
Wow. Hey,
I
thank
think
you, Zach, and thank you, Derek, by the way.
Years ago, I think we played the video of the Insurance Institute where they took a 1955 Chevy and
Yeah.
crashed into a 1995 Chevy. And the result of the guy in the 1955 Chevy would no longer be with us. He'd have the steering column through his chest. His legs would have been cut off at the kneecaps. Everybody says, "Oh, those old cars were built like a tank." No, they weren't. The passenger compartment was the crumple zone. So,
Yeah. But you could repair it, Paul.
yeah.
You can pull it back out. Yeah, you can stretch it. It was a what was it? A Chevy X frame something versus a 2005 Malibu.
Yeah.
And the cloud of smoke that was actually just rust. then the other cloud of smoke, which was the airbag inflator on the other car.
Rust.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm glad I never drove in that time where basically you guys were riding around in tin cans and tissue paper. I don't get it how that was safe, but yeah, it was a little pre-me.
With leaded gasoline.
I'm old enough to remember when people argued that seatbelts were a ridiculous nanny state invention.
All I remember is I'm old enough to remember I can't drive 55, and that's about it.
Thank you for the random Sammy Hagar reference. The passenger was the crumple zone. Exactly,
At least you know I'm an eclectic music person.
You are indeed. Indeed. Let's move on from that story. Thank you so much. KaceyA has not one, but two. I'd say stories to troll me, but I don't want to shortchange KaceyA's. KaceyA's just finds these interesting, and he's...
Do we want to start with practical or impractical?
You start wherever you like.
All right, so let's start with impractical with a... oh, my goodness.
Do we need to screen share these?
Yes, please.
Okay, give me a second here. Which one are you starting with?
The awesomely weird Chinese vehicle.
You had me
okay.
at awesomely weird.
Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong link. And I have to paste it into the browser because it's a different...
Yeah, they used to have a button that said share this instead, and then they got rid of that button, and I got upset.
Okay.
I put a feature request in.
Lord Jesus. Really, KaceyA? You're going to make me do this, aren't you? Okay, here we go. So here's KaceyA's. I'm leaving it at that.
All right, so this vehicle alleges to be a motorbike. It can do 50 miles per hour. You can get it for just $600.
I like it. Of course, you guys, any regular listener viewer knows that this is kind of my shit.
Yeah, so these are more reasonable pictures here.
But come on, guys. If it's too good to be true, it ain't true.
So it's up to 3 kilowatts.
Don't harsh my buzz.
Up to 3 kilowatts of output. So you'll be buying tires like every other day. 60 volts and a 40 amp hour battery.
And it's $600. The build quality's got to be so good that it's going to last a long, long time.
Oh no, it gets worse. Look at the next photo down where they show you them shipping them, Russell.
Oh, really?
Oh man.
All right, so aside from being delivered by Chippendales, they put it in the box upside down. Look at the way the arrow's pointing up.
I mean, at least there's no gas to spill out.
There is that.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The bike may be $600, but the shipping is probably $1,200.
Yeah.
You mean the actual shipping, not the Chippendales?
Not the ship. Yeah, it's $600. It'll be like Wish shopping, where some of that stuff is like, it's 5 cents and it's only $35 delivery. Wait a second.
So,
Right.
I mean, let's also be clear. This is the Alibaba bot price if you buy a container of them.
Yes.
You know, Pep Boys or whoever is going to buy a few containers, they're going to put it on the showroom floor for $1,500.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. And it doesn't have a dolphin on the front, unfortunately. I tried. Yeah.
Should I take Paul's lines for him?
Go ahead.
Paul has pretty much given up on us.
Oh, no, I mean,
No. I mean, just
right. Obviously,
it's gonna break. There's no parts. You throw it away.
Right. You ride it around. You have a good time on it, and if something happens, you're done.
Yeah. You know, if it had a Honda logo on it that you could get support and service.
Yeah.
maybe it's worth buying, but then it wouldn't be $600. It'd be 16,000.
3,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
It would be, they don't even make it because Honda still doesn't make an electric bike.
They will make electric when it is legally required. And I love the way they phrased it. They said, hey, we'll have electric by 2035. And I did the math, and I was like, wait a minute. He'll do it when it's legally required.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the sad part about that. Well, Casey, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's cool. And it just,
Looks
so
cool.
in the broader issue, if I may hijack your story, is it cool to import a bunch of cheap crap to get people into the technology, or does it harm overall in the end? Because we know how this story ends with a broken device and a frustrated customer.
I will say this, though, that unlike a lot of the Western companies, the Chinese companies don't typically have a problem with the right to repair. I ordered a under-desk treadmill, and it came in with a screw in the track, and it ate up the belt. They emailed me a copy of the video service manual and all the parts I needed, and I was able to take it apart and repair it. And that was awesome. And it was mainly because they didn't want to pay $300 to ship it back to China.
Of course.
but it was well built, and I was felt more confident in the product when I got in and I saw that the frame was like cast aluminum and like it didn't flex, and I was like, I actually like this thing better now, even though it came broken.
Although you would think if they went through all this engineering, they would have had a quality control, and it would not have had a screw in the belt.
Maybe he was drunk.
Well, now you're asking for socialism.
Do we have that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dribs and drabs.
I didn't know it was an option.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to
Now
talk about the other one?
Yeah, let's get more practical.
The practical one. Screen share coming up right now.
Perfect. So our friends at Lime have also decided they would release a motorbike. It looks like a moped, but it doesn't have pedals. It looks like an e-bike, but it doesn't have pedals. These are the same people who have those scooters that are parked all over your town. And they're suggesting that with the higher fuel prices and the nice weather that we're having, that perhaps you could rent one of these new motorbikes they're trialing out. They're going to have up to 500 deployed in Long Beach, and they've got space for groceries, and they're hoping that this will make you want to beat the traffic and choose an alternative commute. And I think this is pretty practical. And you don't have to maintain it because you just rent it when you want it. So if somebody else has to do the maintenance, they have a team that runs around and keeps it charged.
Just like the scooters, right?
Just exactly like the scooters. Hopefully that dude doesn't steal them and put them in his container, because these seem a lot more less of a nuisance than the scooters.
I mean,
this is a throwback to a couple episodes ago. Like, was it 2 years ago now? Shoot. There's this guy who's stealing the scooters and putting them in his shipping container.
Yeah.
Or in the lake.
But why are they?
Because he can. Because the police don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, being the big scooter bike fan and dying for an electric one, I would love to know if they were going to sell this, what the consumer price would be, what the specs are on it. I mean, it's not exactly ideal, but it's actually decent. It doesn't have tiny little wheels. That's good. The seat looks comfy and practical. That's good. If it's got any kind of range and it's not crazy expensive, it looks like it's built like a tank.
It has to be, because you got randos driving it.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm just worried that it's going to be stolen a lot. Well, okay, maybe because I'm from New York and it's just going to be stolen a lot. But
hopefully they would have a consumer version that doesn't have their livery on it. That way, somebody doesn't try and confuse your bike for the company bike.
We have. I have to. There's like a bidding war going on in the chat. So
Yes.
Thank you, Zach, and thank you, Derek. You're both wonderful humans. Seriously, I mean it. Thank you. It's super generous. But no bidding war. Be friends. And if we can get Tony Schaefer to come back, I am definitely at the Love to
Even
see
on a
Tony come
recurring
back
guest
on this
basis,
show.
if he doesn't
Tony's
want to do it every
been
week.
enjoying freedom.
Yes.
Tony is enjoying, for the first time in 10 years, his Wednesday evenings. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, there's TV shows on I didn't even know about. Anyway,
Russell, no one watches TV.
oh, they don't?
Well, not broadcast TV.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't.
Yeah.
God,
I time shift everything.
yeah, I cut that cable a long time ago. Casey, thank you for bringing these up. Obviously, the Alibaba one, kind of silly. The Lime one could be really cool. I mean, it's. I would love the chance to buy. All I want is a Honda Cub that's electric. That's it.
Yes. That'll
Give
be
me
awesome.
give me like 60 miles of range. Give me like a 45-mile-an-hour top speed Honda Cub. That's it. I'll give you $5,000 right now. Right now.
For that.
Can I have it, please?
Yeah. Even if they have to charge $2,000 for the battery.
I just want a 3-wheel trike. That's all I'm looking for.
That would be fun too.
Yeah. Well, Paul, if you have sunglasses,
Yeah, I'm going to
maybe.
move here.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
I left my sunglasses.
you're going to be blind by the end of the show, and I'll be like, oh, I remember Paul. Paul needs his shades. Yes, he does, Derek. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Casey Green, for that. Georgia has a whole suite of stories, and I'm going to just start with. Are we going to start with Cambridge, Georgia?
We are going to touch on Cambridge.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to actually move according to where things are on the map from East Coast to West Coast. That makes the most sense in organization.
Right.
So
on a journey.
Let's start on a journey, and we're going to take a look at 2 places. We're going to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and then we're going to go to Texas. Because why not?
Nobody wants to.
Something like that. So Cambridge became the first U.S. city to make protected bike lanes a mandatory thing. And that was back in 2019. So that's the Boston area city of Cambridge. They're trying their best to defeat every other city to be the most progressive safe biking city in the country, with the passage of a bill requiring protected bike lanes on all city streets. It's called the Cycling Safety Ordinance, and it's hoping to hit about 20-mile network of protected bike lanes in the next 5 years for the city of Cambridge. So that was back in 2019. And it was a great victory for sustainability. Well, there's now a battle that's headed to court. Businesses and residents are suing the city over a plan for 25 miles of separated bike lanes, saying that the lost parking spaces will hurt sales. Hey, that doesn't sound like an issue that residents have.
Also, like every study proves that the lost parking spaces are totally worth it because you get like people will be out there. Like the more people are biking, they're going slower past your business. They're not zooming on past it. The reason that our non-walkable cities are the way they are is because people don't feel safe to walk or bike.
And not only are they saying they don't want the protected streets that are to be built, they also want to have the existing bike lanes built under the initiative to be completely eliminated for more parking spaces.
Like those dudes in California with their free gas for the free charging.
Yeah. Now they're calling this safe streets for all, which is amusing because it's only it's Cambridge Streets for all. And that's funny. And it's one of those things I talk to you guys about here all the time about language being co-opted. It's pretty easy to take sustainability language and slap it on a bill that is absolutely not about sustainability. So calling it Cambridge Streets for all when it's really Cambridge Streets for cars, ironic. And it's one of those tricks that people use to get people to support, especially ballot initiatives and things on the ballot that people go and vote for, because they see it's the people who read the headline and don't read the article, even scan it just a little bit, and they get fooled by it, they vote for it, and then they go, wait, that's not what I was looking for. So there you go. It's headed to court, and everybody who knows me knows I'm going to say what I'm going to say next. This is why your local elections, especially if you elect judges, are very important.
Yeah.
So this is it's part of the plan to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2050. But business owners and bike advocates are basically now in a massive spat, fighting each other, and now it's officially headed to court. And we're going to see exactly what happens. They feel that the cycling safety businesses, they keep saying residents, but I'm not sure about that. They say that it's causing huge damage to the community and it only benefits bicycle riders. But I think bicycle riders might just be business owners and residents too. Call me
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Uh,
You know who doesn't need a whole parking space when they stop at your shop? One bicyclist. You know who's not clogging up your streets with traffic when they're on the bike? The bicyclist or the walker, the pedestrian.
And one of the other methods that people use when they do these lawsuits, they always claim that the city doesn't do enough to inform residents of the ordinance and its implication.
I mean, all
Now,
the postings and the ads in the
yeah,
paper
I'm
and
going
the
to speak
stickers
as
on
an
everything.
ex-government employee who's actually watched this in a number of projects in my city when I worked for the city. They put up postings, they put it on the air, it's in the newspaper. There's often a, you know, just even just flyers around town that explain it. And a whole heck of a lot of time, people just don't bother to pay any attention until something's passed. And then later on, they claim, you didn't do enough. Hey, I had to say this to somebody else who said that they don't feel that the party's doing enough to tell them what's going on. Nobody can sit you down and make you pay attention. You have to pay attention. Spend 10 minutes figuring out what the hell's going on in your town. Spend 10 minutes figuring out what the hell's going on in your city, your state, and your federal government. It's a benefit to you.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a hearing, hey, in 2 days. So best of luck to the city of Cambridge in keeping this initiative, because as we all know, alternative transportation is key to sustainable cities. There's no way to avoid it. And the fact that for some people they're pissed that they're not going to have a parking space where they want it. Wow, you may have to figure out a different way to park. You may have to park on a side street. Maybe what you need to be doing is working with city planners and organizing for
A parking garage.
parking garage, an actual parking space, because infill development is often what goes missing in a lot of these places. But that might be work. It's easier to prevent this development from happening. So good luck, Cambridge. I'm rooting for you, though. Oh, wait. Paul, looking really cool there, by the way.
But one thing I've seen lately that I like is not just the stickers. They'll buy real signs, like real highway signs, like metal with the reflective and everything. And of course they tweet and they put it on the local news, and like you can't miss these things. You might not know what it is, but they'll tell you what they're doing, so you can go look it up. Like they've done everything except make you read it.
It depends on the city. I'm sure Cambridge does a lot better than smaller towns. I cannot stress to you guys often how old government machines are. I remember when I started at work, it was 2007. And I looked at what they gave me to do video and graphic design, and I said, congratulations on hitting 1999. I was dealing with proprietary software, single box stuff that I just was like, what is this? I haven't seen anything like this since I went to Lake Merritt for TV programming and was editing on an actual videotape editor that they had to teach us basic videotape editing until they could update information. Yes, that's what happens when you don't have a lot of funds to teach stuff. I've never seen anything like that. And the first thing I had them do was get me a more up-to-date laptop and get me some programs, because I'm not using this. But government is very notorious for either overbuying new stuff or under updating their other stuff. Like you're talking And for those of you who work in graphics, especially, you know that by 7 years, what am I doing here? You know, got a methed out chipmunk running this processor because it can't run the software anymore. Hold on, let me go get a cup of coffee across the street, down the block, because it's 5 minutes for this thing to even open up. And that's honestly what it was like. I finally just bought my own and just worked on my own machine, but I had the office computer just sort of sitting there holding down some stuff. That's and a lot of times teaching them, especially getting councils to understand social media, they're better now because there's younger people now in those seats. But if they don't have the understanding and knowledge of why the outreach is important and all the different ways, you only get money for local news, some flyers, some mailers, and you'll run it on the government TV channel because they don't have any social media whatsoever. So there might be a good case if there's a lack of outreach, but I can't see Cambridge having that problem. But to me, best of luck to the bike people, because I'm rooting for you, and I'm aware that I have bias.
Well,
So.
I mean, bias or not, like having less people on the road with you, the car driver, makes your experience better as a car driver. It's just a given.
The answer is not cars. They are the problem. We need to just stop. And we have decades of social inertia, of societal cars equal freedom, of an entire culture that demands you have a cool car or a nice car. In some cases,
I don't even know if it's the car, though. I think, honest to goodness, it's a culture where thinking about others means you have to give something up, and you refuse to give something up, and that is. It's like, hey, there's a reason why socialism was very popular in countries with a largely homogenous group of people. And the minute they diversify by like 5% of the population, they start cracking down on the programs. It's because they don't want to share. And that's a human element, and it's not resolved by saying, well, we have a socialist government or we have a capitalist government or anything else. Because the minute you slap those terms on it, you fight the terms. You don't actually look at the root cause, and that's human greed and selfishness. And in a lot of ways, you kind of have to accept that and then start trying to work to counteract that. But that's a difficult process for people. So.
And there's new forms of transportation. Last Saturday, I was in a neighborhood without a vehicle, and I had to get, back somewhere about 4 miles, and looked at the bus schedule. The next bus was 20 minutes away. Looked at the Lyft app, and it was like $14 for the Lyft. And then I looked across the street and saw a Lime scooter, and I said, hey, I'm just going to jump on the Lime scooter. And you know what? It was really fun. And I explored a couple of different neighborhoods I've never been in, and got to where I needed to get to pretty quickly. And it was like $4 or $5. So some of these new things are kind of cool.
I mean, I like the fact that it's a nice slowdown. You're not zipping past everything and everybody to get to A to B. And if you have the time, why not? But, getting people to that point, that's the hard point.
Yeah, this new paradigm is like a lot of people don't want to even consider change, let alone try it, which is
change is scary.
Yeah,
change is scary, but we can do it.
Yeah.
And we should do, and we can do it. We should do it, and we should do it before we have to do it. That's the issue that we're having, because there's a have to point.
Yeah, I mean, this marketing was so successful. I mean, this whole car-dependent society didn't exist 100 years ago, and what do? We built our lives around, the membership replacement, and then we went further and further out. I mean, like, you can still have a walkable city with a backyard. It doesn't have to be exclusive.
Well, I'm going to remind everybody of the classic movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That one.
Where Bob Hoskins' line, What a crazy idea. Why would you need a car when you can ride everywhere in a streetcar for 5 cents? LA used to be covered in a network of sustainable streetcars. And what did they do? I mean, I love visiting LA. And yes, there is public transportation in LA. I've worked it out. There's a lot of opportunities now, but there's a point in time, and there's still key places you have to get to that there's no public transportation. I speak as a person raised in New York, where I am used to being able to go massive distances, often for much less money than going from where I am in Northern California down to San Francisco. Down to San Francisco is like, I think it's a $60 cost for me. And that's if I just stay on Greyhound, if I have, not including having to go to the BART or use the SF rails. I still have to pay for that, and I can't get all over the place. So, but in New York City, I can tell you, I can take the bus from my parents' home. I can take 5 different buses to get to a train station, get on a train, and go from where my parents are in Queens almost up to Nassau, all the way down to Rockaway Beach. And I can ride all over the city. And I don't have to pay money if I switch from train to train to train. I can ride everywhere for one fare. I never have to get out of the city. I don't have to pay twice unless I want to hit a PATH train. And I got spoiled. I know I got spoiled because there's nothing quite like it out here. Public transportation is what we need, and we need alternative transportation. But I want to move on because I wanted to give you something better to think about.
Uh-oh.
I know. I want to end on a positive note and on a brighter note in a place that we don't really look at for brighter notes. Sorry, Texas, but you know it's true. I have great hopes for you for changing that, but y'all got to actually decide you want to change. Sorry. We're going to Texas. Yay! And we're going to have a little side note with Florida because, oh, I'm so sorry, Florida. All right. Guess what? We all know that Texas's grid has had a number of problems. And I'm not even going to joke or crack a joke because too much loss of life happened for me to crack a joke about it. We are talking about the grid failures during wintertime under the unexpected snap. We are talking about grid failures during record heat. And it's not like it's really improved. However, you know what? It's actually not having deadly blackouts. Why? It's because strong performances from wind and solar. Thank you, sustainable energy. Generated 27 gigawatts of electricity during this past Sunday's peak demand, close to 40% of the total needed. But you're not going to really hear that coming from the Texas government. So I guess that's why we have media reporters. Zero carbon electricity, so wind, solar, and nuclear, powered about 38% of the state's power in 2021, which is rivaling natural gas at 42%. And if it wasn't for having that, we would have had those blackouts again in Texas. But the investment in these products and these projects, even in Texas, which is adamantly opposed to renewables because of oil and gas and the power that lobby has on that specific government. And it's still saving their ass. Now, how many people in Texas know that? I don't know. I wish they knew more about that fact, that these are helping them not have the problems that they had. But I think that's actually a great thing. And the fact that if we can do it in Texas and maintain it in Texas, that means we can do it in other red states too. We just have to have people willing to do the investment. And as stupid as it sounds, I do have faith in people in red and purple states that, you know what, if you organize and if you pull yourselves together, You can do it. And don't worry, Russell. No matter how often I'm disappointed in humanity, I will still have that foolish hope in my heart because that's just how I'm built. It's the way I am. So, yes, I fully acknowledge my own foolishness. Um, and that's a great win. One minor thing for Florida,
Wow,
and we
wow,
can talk about
wow.
both of them. Florida Power and Light raised the bill of Sarah Ann Conklin, guest columnist for Florida Today, by 178%. You might be saying to yourself, wow, how much oil and gas was she using? Uh, she's using solar. Her last month net kilowatt usage was negative. So she sent power to the grid. So they have, but Florida Power and Light has changed their rate structure. They must pay, they have said that she must pay for the equivalent of 239 kilowatts of electricity each month, whether she uses it or not. Now, that was approved by the Public Service Commission. Yeah. So basically, they're saying that because you're connected to the grid, you have to pay for a certain amount of energy usage, even if we're taking energy from you, which is like, what? So she was already paying a fee to be connected to the grid. So this is not what this increase is about. It's not like she was connected for free. She is literally being told, you're paying to connect to us, you're sending power to the grid, but because you're connected to us, you must give us $30 because that's the equivalent cost of 239 kilowatt hours of electricity each month.
Like my water company, you must buy 50 gallons a month, even if you don't even turn on the tap.
The
More than
building
50
we're in
gallons.
right now in Russellsville, the sales office, it's about 250 square feet. It's a little used car sales lot, has a sink and a toilet, and my water bill from the city is $180 a month.
Oh,
It's commercial
Jesus.
property, and we probably use
Wow.
about 12 gallons of water. And you call the city and you say, well, I don't want to pay. And say, well, too bad, you have to pay because that's the minimum charge. So
My
they're charging
reaction,
me probably for 5,000 gallons, and I'm using a couple hundred.
my reaction is get you a battery and get unplugged. But unfortunately, in a lot of
Well, in Florida,
jurisdictions,
that's illegal.
I was about to say, in a lot of
Well,
jurisdictions, that'll get you condemned.
yeah, you have to be connected to the grid. And I mean, it does, again, one thing I do harp on a lot here is it talks a lot about the things I say when I say those local, there's no small elections. There's no small seats that you can ignore. Everybody with political power has political power to affect your life. So a lot
Even
of
the
people
dog catcher.
focus on the president, they focus on the federal senator, the federal House representative. A few people know what's going on with their state senators and state representatives, but you are talking, like how many Black women that are into, disturbed and air supply, the levels who are like, who's on my public commission seat? And diversification on the public commissions, uh, yeah, yes, Bruce, that is entirely correct. Remove all incentive for conservation.
Well, yeah.
But when diversification on these commission seats, which is something I did bring up, I think a couple of shows ago, which is where we have people with disabilities who are not allowed to sit on commissions, even if they're not paid, because if they sit on them, they lose their benefits, their SSI, even if they're not paid. And it's like, can you think of anybody who would be more interested in making sure power availability and power for the poor does not go up 178% through this bogus bullshit charge from a funded company like Florida Power and Light, because there is no way they're getting enough money subsidies to be there in any case, than somebody who is disabled, who often has machines that they need to run, are using minimal amounts of electricity just because we do keep the disabled in poverty in this country with these benefits. They should have a seat at the table to make sure they're not on the menu, and yet here they are on the menu. And I respect Miss Sarah's statement. She's lucky she's got solar, and she admits that she's in a better position because she's got solar, so it's only an additional $30 for her.
Yeah, because imagine if she didn't have solar, she went over that mark by 1 kilowatt hour, and she hit that next tier.
And there you go. So, boo and hiss on Florida Power and Light. Yay on Texas and Texas's sustainability, the few sustainability projects that the Texas actually has running alternative fuels. It's a good sign. It's a good thing. I really hope that both states throw off the people that are preventing them from doing more with it, and the people that are also sitting on public commissions and just saying, yeah, sure, why not? Charge people for energy they're not using just because.
I don't understand why they don't like this stuff more. It's something you get for free that you can sell. That's their whole. That gets them so excited. So why not? Why not
it's not even their investment. It's not even. That's what's remarkable to me. You're not investing in it. You didn't have to put up these panels. You don't have to deal with the infrastructure, the maintenance. You don't have to deal with the rent. You are getting power for free.
Selling it for a profit.
And you can sell it for a profit back to other people. And here you go. Give me $29.90. What? Get out of here.
GTFO.
Exactly. I'm weary. Okay. Thank you, Georgia.
We got cat.
Look at that kitty. Okay. Last and certainly not least, I want to shout out and talk about someone I came across on Twitter. He is a PE teacher in Portland, Oregon, named Sam Balto. He is on Twitter at Coach Balto, Balto. And I'm going to show you. Actually, it'll take me a second. So I saw this one picture, and then I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I had to read more, and I had to kind of see what's going on. What is this? What are they doing? Well, as it turns out, Coach Balto organized a thing around his school, elementary school PE teacher, on Earth Day. And said, hey, get all the kids together, and you can see it right there. I hope.
You can see it.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, I was clicking on the wrong tab. There we are.
You got it.
And there's Coach Sam over there in the safety vest, and as he calls it, a tsunami of kids. And they rode their bikes to school on Earth Day. Well, what he's been doing every Wednesday since then is getting this huge group of kids to get together and get on skates and bikes and whatever they have, and go to school en masse in this group. And what? Like an inspirational, wonderful, simple, costs nothing, and yet all of those kids are going to get to school safely. They're going to have a blast doing it. They're going to get exercise. They're not polluting anywhere. Nobody's moms or dads are waiting in their huge Denali, pumping exhaust into the playground. They're just going to go to school and put their bikes up and go have a great day. There's nothing bad about this. It is everything good. So, I mean, a huge shout out to Coach Sam for doing this, for continuing to do this. And I hope so much that I can show you some other ones here. He's got, again, at Coach Balto on Twitter. Here's a video of the kids coming down the street. Yay. I mean, how much fun is that?
In Amsterdam, they don't even need the adult.
How much fun is that? Like, it's fun to go to school.
This is called the Walking School Bus Project.
Yes.
We should have this in every city, and we should be doing this every day, not just once a day or once a week. It should be every day. There's no reason. You know why these kids are all there? Because they're safe. They're not worried about getting run over by a car. Their parents aren't, because they're all in this big group. I love seeing this. This is the way things could be. We could live in this world. It wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be that hard. All we have to decide to do is that we want to do that.
And they're working on doing the reverse direction as well at some point in the future, getting all the kids from school back home.
Yeah.
But even getting all those kids, like you said, all the parent pickup line, the idling in the line, get all that even just once a day is a huge start.
An enormous change, and the ripple effects out from something simple like this. Less traffic, less pollution, less gas burned, all of that are good. There's no bad side to this. So that's it. Cheers to Coach Balto. We tried to connect to get him on the show, and we may actually have him on the show coming up soon. Our schedules just don't exactly meet up. So I want to thank him for taking the time to kind of chat with me a little bit about this, and of course for doing something so cool in his own town.
The kids in the video had smiles on their faces.
Yes.
They're having a blast.
They're exercising.
They're
exercising. They're getting that dopamine up.
But they're not exercising, right? They're like, ooh, we get to
being kids.
Yeah,
be kids.
Being kids enjoying things.
We've talked about it a couple times tonight. I mean, when you make the road safe for things other than cars will use them. Pedestrians, scooters, cyclists, whatever they are, skateboarders, all of whom are much better for our ecology than car drivers.
Yeah. And then we've talked about it before on the show about what happens when there is an unfortunate incident with a car. We always just shrug it off and say, "Oh, these things happen." Whereas if the same thing happened any other way, we wouldn't just excuse it. If one of these kids bowled down a smaller kid, there'd be an inquisition. If somebody bowls down a kid on a car or in a car, they whoops, and then they go about their day. This is not how it should be. There should be consequences for driving something like that recklessly.
Yeah. Hey, Sam Balto's my hero of the week. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I like that he's got the cargo bike with the two kids in it.
Right. Sure. And the safety vest. I mean,
yes,
it's whatever.
Kid hauler. All right.
Let's do some shout outs and go home. Paul, I'm going to start with you before you're entirely blind.
Well, the sunglasses
I can see the sun coming down right here.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Mr. Bond.
So, as always, people in Colorado on the Front Range, check us out, boulderhc.com for our service and repair business, boulderh.com for car sales, but you don't want to be buying a car yet. Wait a while. Unless you absolutely need a car, don't buy a car. They're too expensive, and you don't need it. And you can ride a scooter. It's a nice time of year.
Maybe that's what I should have said earlier. Like if buying a car is horrible, so buy something else.
Yeah.
Motorcycles are horrible, but get an e-bike, get a regular bike,
or a monthly transit pass.
A little electric scooter.
City has decent public transit.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to live in a place like that. I'm sorry, brief digression. I'm going to what used to be called the Southern California Exposition. Now it's the San Diego County Fair. Going to the fair tomorrow. San Diego County has a deal. The fair is $20 and like $25 to park, right? But if you take the Sprinter train from where I live, about half a mile from where I live, to the coaster train, and then there's a shuttle bus that takes you from the Solana Beach rail station to the fair, it's $15 round trip and your admission into the fair.
Not bad.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good incentive.
It's a brilliant incentive, and I hope the train's packed with people going to the fair.
And you have some money to buy those little donuts they sell at the fair.
Yeah. Anybody listening from Germany, they've got a program going right now trying to keep the fuel costs and pollution down, where they've actually discounted the mass transit even further to incentivize you to leave that car at home.
Yeah. And look, it's less convenient to take 2 trains and a shuttle bus, but I'm saving like $40.
Yeah.
I'd be, you know what I mean? Like, and I can pay for that convenience and drive to the fair and park and walk in and go and whatever. But so it's not subsidizing. I don't want to, a lot of people like to talk about like it's subsidizing the wrong thing. It's not. It's subsidizing the right thing, which is getting people out of cars.
Yep. And if more people did it, it wouldn't be less convenient. It would be more convenient. They would have dedicated tram lines. They would have dedicated traffic lights. Like everywhere we prioritize mass transit to the point where it's not that's what poor people do, or it's just what everybody does. It gets better for everyone, and even the people in the cars. Because hey, if for some reason the route doesn't cover you or your schedule doesn't cover you, now there's like 1,000 less people on the road with you.
No, if you're tired, you've had a long day at the fair, you can just go enjoy yourself and don't have to drive all the way back. You're not thinking, I know we're doing good, but I'm going to be shagged.
Just don't fall asleep on the train and wake up, 30 miles down the line.
An alarm. But that's the other beauty is you could actually sleep today and travel because somebody else is driving.
Exactly. Okay, Casey Green, what's going on in your world?
Well, on Sunday, you can catch me here at youtube.com/Casey Green, and it's KaceyGreen. Myself and Motoko, we'll get you some articles to discuss, and we'll have a little discussion. And if she will learn to sleep for longer than 2 hours straight, I'll actually get some of the pre-recorded videos done and put them on the same place, and we'll catch you there. Thank you. Also, click that like button.
We'll see you in about 4 years, Casey, with that whole maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'm still recording them. The editing is the hard part.
I don't have a baby on my chest, and it's the hard part. I get that. Georgia McKenzie.
Well, shout out to everybody who stayed here for an hour. Thank you so much. And yes, Mr. Bruce, my cat loves me too, and loves to be on me the minute you guys are talking to me, obviously. So shout out to my cat for wanting to be on camera all the time. And while you're here, because you stayed here this long, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Remember, your likes help the algorithm of YouTube find this program. And frankly, aren't we way more fun than some of those stupid cooking videos? They're definitely trolling everybody because they're making drinks in like a toilet or something like that. Yes, it is. So hit like, hit subscribe. While you're at it, bounce on over to Casey's travel channel, where he's, well, let's face it, he's training our robot overlords in Tesla cars by testing a lot of AI, and then he's telling you what he thinks of everything else there. Not to mention, he's got a co-host, and she's really cute.
And she'll never have to drive or burn gasoline or any fossil fuels.
There you go.
There we go.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Georgia. I want to thank Georgia McKenzie, Casey Green, and Paul Guzik. I want to thank Derek and Zach for their amazingly generous bidding war. Fun watching you guys. Thank you for stopping. And thank you so much for the support of the store, of the show. We don't have a store. Maybe we need a store. Is there something you'd like to buy from us? We'll sell it to you. But it won't be a used car. I'm just going to tell you that right now. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. You folks are the reason we do the show, whether you're watching or listening. We appreciate it. Download us next week and find out what drives us. Good job, Casey. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.